This morning I want to minister and tag this text, how to serve while struggling. How to serve while struggling. I found out a little while ago that life has a way of teaching you lessons that school could never prepare you for. We are constantly faced with problems in our lives.
Oh yes, the struggle truly is real. Welcome back, guys. I trust you've been staying safe. Now, today's true crime story is coming to you from Mississippi in the United States of America, and it's looking at how a young 25-year-old pastor decided, for some strange reason best known to him, that he was going to try and end his wife's life and also take his own life in front of his own children. This is the true crime story of how Pastor Dany Gabby Prenell Jr. from Mississippi in the United States of America attempted to end his life's wife, she being the mother of his 3 children, and himself at a hotel. This is an evolving true crime story, and we'll follow it and bring you the updates as and when they are due. If you are ready for this true crime story, just buckle up and let's go. Now, before we get into today's true crime story, kindly help our campaign against femicide by going to the comment section and type in "please stop the femicide" or hashtag "say no to femicide" to help us push the campaign forward. Additionally, subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so to help push the algorithm and our campaign to other viewers out there. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for helping our cause. Now to the substantive story at hand. So, this story is a freaky one, honestly. And it starts with this quote: "I may not be a perfect man, but I'll always be a family man." This was written by Pastor Dany Prenell Jr., senior pastor of the Bright Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church, on June 19th on his Facebook page, with a picture of him, his smiling wife, called Gabby Prenell, 27 years old, and their 3 young children. Fast forward, on June 21st, investigators indicate that Pastor Prenell, who celebrated his first anniversary as pastor of the church in January 2023, went on to shoot his wife twice at the hotel before going on to also shoot himself. Now, the femicide has been triggered. But this is very odd, given the fact that this pastor and his wife seemed to be the model couple. If you look at them, nothing in their disposition or their countenance or the way they were with themselves and their family would indicate that there was something going on between them that would lead to this being the outcome. In actual fact, this pastor had also gone on to celebrate his wife. He did this in a Facebook post whilst celebrating the birthday of his wife and one of their children. He called her his queen and the woman that he loves and owes his life to. This was the post that he put out. "First, let me say to my queen, my wife, the woman that I love and owe my life to, I love you so much and I'm grateful to God that He has allowed you another year. I've watched your growth on all levels and you are a great mother, wife, and my best friend. I am proud to be your husband because you are a woman of class, discretion, integrity, and most importantly, a woman of God. God continues to allow you many more birthdays because I honestly do not know what I'll do without you." Now, this is where the whole thing just goes off the charts. If she's your queen and you are saying all these things about her, you don't know what you do without her. How do we move from that point to a point where you decide that you are actually going to attempt to take her life or unalive her and unalive yourself in front of your children? and you are a pastor. I don't understand. Now, when this case broke, several perspectives started coming in. There are people who are trying to excuse Pastor Prenell on the grounds that whatever he did was on the grounds of pressure from the service or pressure from the ministry, such that being called to serve as a pastor has its own pressures, and his life sort of succumbed to the pressures that he was going through as a man of God. Now, do I agree to this? My answer is a big no. I don't agree to this. I believe that even if you are not a man of God, everybody deals with pressure in one form or the other, and rightly so, because Pastor Prenell, even at the opening session of this video, testified to that in his sermon. We are all dealing with something, and it's not an excuse. He being a pastor doesn't mean he's dealing with more than someone who isn't a pastor. I think this is a clear case of a domestic abuse where he tried to take the life of his wife and also take his own life, and also subjected their children to a very horrific scene where they saw both parents bleeding out at the hands of their dad. I think that this is a very, very horrific thing to come from a man of God, and it cannot be excused on the grounds that he was dealing with the pressures of the ministry. I think that there is more to this. Now, fortunately, Pastor Dany Prenell survived his suicide attempt, and his wife also survived the shots that he fired at her. He actually shot at her twice, one in the abdomen, one in the arm, and he also shot himself in the abdomen, but both of them survived, and he has actually been discharged and arrested, and he's been charged preliminarily, with attempted murder and also disturbing of the peace on the business premises. But I'm sure more charges will come in the free as the case builds up. His wife is still in the intensive care unit the last time I heard, and I learned that she's responding to treatment. For me, I think that there's more to this in the sense that this seems more. I'm not saying it is, but in instances like this in the past, usually it seems more to have to do with a situation where somebody is trying to escape something that is coming, and the person feels that the best way to do it is to just do it by unaliving him or herself and the people close to him. Maybe he may have been caught up in something, a scandal of a sort, and the consequence is looming, and he feels that it may be better he takes his own life than to face the shame. That is one possibility. Another possibility is that their marriage wasn't as rosy as it seemed on the outside. Maybe they were having issues. Maybe there has been an affair of a sort. Maybe not. But who knows? Because for me, it is not normal that a pastor, especially for that matter, would get to the point where he decides to end his wife's life and also unalive himself, especially in the presence of their children. Why that urgency? At worst, it could have been considered to be done not in the presence of their children. That's not to say it makes it any better, but he choosing that option goes to show the urgency with which he did what he did. But fortunately, both of them have survived. Their kids are with the social welfare, and the case is now being investigated. I'll not be surprised if a sort of scandal is found out. Most likely, either on the part of the pastor or his wife. It could be he is the perpetrator of the scandal or the culprit in the scandal, or it's his wife and he can't face the shame, so he needed to just exit, both of them. I'm keeping my fingers crossed to see how this one will pan out, because the details of this case, honestly, it just shocked me, given the fact that this is a pastor, a man of God for that matter, and he attempted this gruesome act in a hotel just as they were exiting the elevator with their kids, 3 beautiful kids. Now, when you look at the post that he put out, this is where I think the crux of the issue is. He's just 25 years old, actually. And he posted that I may not be a perfect man, but I'll always be a family man. In attempting to analyze this, I think he as a man may have made some mistakes, and there could be some shame, horrible shame, that is looming. And by virtue of he being a pastor, it's going to be a very huge scandal. And maybe that was what was triggering him to do what he did. But he goes on to say that, but I'll always be a family man. I think that is he trying to assert the fact that no matter what mistakes he has done, he loves his family and he's always there for them. Now, this young pastor has a very active presence on social media, and he's very vocal. And prior to starting his job at this Bright Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church, Prenell's Facebook page indicates that he actually served as a deputy sheriff at the Rapids Parish Sheriff's Office. Now, one of the posts that he put out on Facebook is this: at the age of 25, I often hear that I am far beyond my years. However, I never get satisfied with where I am. I'm constantly looking for more. People with small minds would keep you locked up into what can fit into their heads. The God I serve doesn't have a limit, and I'm staying faithful because I know my cup shall run over. Now, with this post, you could see this is somebody who is of high spirits and actually appreciates the fact that he's ahead of his years as a 25-year-old pastor, and he looks the part too. So then, with all these, what then would get him to do what he did? Some are also saying it's the devil attacking him. Yeah, the devil is at work always, and men of God are no exception to that. But if we are going by the spirituality, then it means that anybody can be targeted, because we saw him preaching. This is the man of God. And if he can get to this point, then I shudder to think of what can befall the members. This is not to mock him or anyone who is a Christian. I'm also a Christian, but it's just to emphasize the fact that you must be steadfast in whatever you believe in, because the temptation can come at any time. And even though you may see a man of God praying, speaking in tongues and whatever, they are still human beings. And sometimes, at the point of their vulnerability, such things can happen. So, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Like I said, there are so many perspectives out there, but in the eyes of the law, he has attempted murder, and he has also disturbed the peace on a business premises. Not to talk of the fact that he has sort of made his kids witness something that is so extreme. I think it may likely scar them forever. They are with Child Protective Services, and we are waiting to see how this case will go. Investigations are still ongoing, and I'm following this case. Once there is any break, especially with regards to the reason why he did this, I'll let you know. Until then, stay safe out there. It can come from anybody. The risks are all around us. Even men of God can be part of the source of the risk. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet done so. Hit the post notifications button. And hey, support our campaign against femicide by going to the comment section and just type in, please stop the femicide. Here's a pastor attempting femicide. And it breaks my heart. God be with all of us. Stay safe out there. I'll catch you next time.